All right, driver's meeting will be in about 5 minutes, so.
Oh, welcome everyone to race 15 of the Darkside Mustangs A² Cup Series season here at Sonoma. The Sonoma 110, 55 laps, the main event tonight. As you saw, we're kind of playing around with the colors that you see on the ticker, the tower off to the left side of the screen. Drivers with the gold background to their numbers, like Breo that we're looking at right now. Race winners locked into the A² playoffs later this year. Those with the black backgrounds, still not locked in. They have not won a race yet. Making it a little bit easier to identify who's in the playoffs, who's locked their way in, and who still have some work to go. 19 drivers set lap time so far. Tommy Reynolds the fastest of the bunch early on here in Sonoma. Best lap times looking at him: 1:15.47 for Tommy Reynolds, 1:15.87 for James Pierce, sitting in second. The Indy Arcs ace, I guess for lack of better terms, four-time race winner, sitting second on the overall timesheets. Davey Houck in third in the 1:16 range. As we watch that was James Kerr, the 75, and Breo, the 74, get together in the last corner. Breo fourth in the times. Toby Estes in the fifth position. Then it's Josh Gaiman, Seth Wanzing, Donald Ray, Jacob Blankenship, Noah Belleville, Tom Sears, Kevin Feemster, top 12. All right, almost time for qualifying here in Sonoma. Letting everything reset here as we get ready to go. 19 cars looking to take part here tonight. We're going to hop on board. First car that's rolling, let's see. Look at Tommy Reynolds here. There we go. There's Tommy Reynolds. A team sideswipe driver. All right, Reynolds on his first lap here as we get ready to go. Reynolds' first one to start a lap. Him and Jeremy Breo both have started their first laps, as well as Jacob Blankenship. Yeah, Seth Wansing, James Kerr, James Pierce, Joshua Gaiman also now on the board on their first flying laps. So we'll see a lot of laps come in pretty quickly here as qualifying gets underway. Reynolds right now the furthest one ahead. Him and Breo should set lap times pretty close to each other here. I believe Reynolds is a little bit quicker as they go through the S's and come down to approach turn 11 here at Sonoma. Be careful, make sure the car doesn't wheel hop. A challenge a lot of drivers have faced in years past. Really nice and tidy there from Tommy Reynolds. He'll cross the line to finish this first lap. What does it look like? So 1:16.25. 2 seconds quicker than Jeremy Breo. Looks like Joshua Gaiman, Jacob Blankenship will actually be the next one to set a qualifying lap time. Again, for those that are just now tuning in, a couple changes to the overall layout of our broadcast here on RX Racing Networks. Drivers with the gold background to their numbers are those that have won a race and have locked themselves into the A-squared playoffs later this year. Those with the black number backgrounds have yet to win a race to lock themselves in. Reynolds, his second lap was invalidated, so he's back to pit lane. Looking at Josh Gaiman, who's moved up to P2. I believe Gaiman has won a race. Unless I'm dearly mistaken here, I believe he's won a race. I'd be surprised if he hasn't. Yeah, Gaiman has won a race, so we'll have to fix that. Give us a second to fix that. Gonna flash back up on your screen for you. There you go. Seven drivers have won races so far this season, and of the 7 that have won races this season, I believe 6 of them are in attendance tonight. The only one that hasn't shown up tonight is Cody Pennell. Gaiman second lap time, not good enough for pole position. Seth Wansing Two-time series champion. What's it look like for Seth? Is it good? Where does it put him? If he can get into that 16 range, Pierce top of the board. Wanzing went P4. Wanzing will give up this lap time. Davey goes P3. Davey Alcon, he just finished his run, is now P3. It's on his second lap. Bluegrass Bandits driver. Sitting 9th right now. James Pierce currently top of the board at 115.58. Puts him almost 3/4 of a second clear of Tommy Reynolds. As Wright spins out, and that'll invalidate his lap time. He will not improve. A lot more lap times on the board. We'll see if we can find. There's Noah Belleville. He was very impressive in his return to the series when he raced at Richmond. A little bit of latency issue there for Belleville. His first lap wasn't validated. This is his final lap to set in qualifying. See where he will start in the heat races here. We have Tommy Withers on the lap as well. He's on his first lap. We'll actually pivot to him to see how his first lap goes as he goes wide. His first lap not going to be worth riding home about. Lock up on that. I believe that was the right side of the car. It was the left front that locked up going into 11. Our right, but his left. He'll still go 10th. He'll still be ahead of Bradley Wright here. Top 10 right now as he rolls up the hill here at Sonoma. And he will spin out. Bradley Wright next up. Another Bluegrass Bandits. I keep trying to merge the two words together. His first lap, P4 for Toby Estes. Now on a second. Alrighty. Second lap in the books for Toby Estes. Moves him up to P3 ahead of Davey Houck. Tom Sears went 8th fastest. Jacob Blankenship went 11th fastest. Tom Sears actually still on his second lap. We'll see if this improves. Right now he is sitting P8. Trying to get himself closer to that top 5 if he can in that number 14 ARCS machine. Out of turn 11, his second lap time. What's it going to look like? Across the line. Did it improve? It did. P4. Moves Davey Houck down to 5th place in the qualifying standings. Davey Houck was starting himself up. Felt like he had a really good shot. Pierce, Reynolds, Estes, and Sears have had something to say about that so far. Wild. That's going to do it for qualifying so far. Meal's second lap, which was completed at 123.19, just enough to get through the board here. But qualifying will be over, and now we will worry about... looks like we are... It looks like it's a heat race here. I'll have to see what's going on with the heat races, because I believe it's a different format for tonight. If I remember correctly, there's 2 heats tonight. So the first heat determines... I don't remember what positions it determines. Let me see if I can find my notes real quick. Because we didn't have enough for a last chance qualifier. I don't recall how much there was here. So I believe we're going to have a formation lap. I hope we have a formation lap. I don't think anyone wants to do a standing start in these cars. And in fact, there's the formation lap. Full formation lap here at Sonoma. Front row already locked in. So you're looking at Estes on the front row with Tom Sears. Davey Alk sitting in 3rd place for this first heat race, alongside Joshua Gaiman. Then you'll have Wanzing and... I believe it's Wanzing and Ray. Yeah, it'll be Wanzing and Ray. Once they get through here, with it being on the S's. It'd be a bit difficult. I'll actually blow it up for you here while we're looking at it. Yeah, Wanzing and Ray, row 3. Rayo and Belleville, row 4. Blankenship and Hohenbrink, row 5. Withers and Wright, row 6. And we'll just go all the way down the rest of the order here. Smeal and Kerr make up row 7 in this heat race. Then it's Pinnell and Gabbard. And then Kevin Feemster rounds out the 17-car heat race number 1 here at Sonoma. Alrighty. Pace car is in pit lane. So we'll roll through turn 11 here. It's on the green flag. Estes is the pole sitter. So here we go. It's almost showtime. 17 cars really nicely formed up here through turn 11. They wanted to go really early. Davey was on the heels of Toby Estes. But they'll go up the hill for the first time here in heat race number 1. Here we go. Through turn 7. Well, that was turn 4. There's turn 7. Well, I was wondering, the nomenclature for the turns here are a bit weird because they still count the carousel, the inside of the track here as 5 and 6. So it goes from turn 4, and then the short shoe connects 4 to 7. Semantics, I know, but agitating nonetheless, as we see a side-by-side battle between Houck and Tom Sears. Houck, a really good move on the inside of Tom Sears. Move at 21 up to the 2nd position in heat race number 1. cars went off track. Belleville, Smeal, and Gabbard, 3 cars that went off track here. As we watch the top 3 go up the hill, and now they will descend down the turn 4. Really good look out of the turn 4 there. As Sears almost lost it. He'll lose out to Wanzing and maybe Breo. Through turn 7, lock up there for Sears as he tries to keep it off of Breo. He'll lose another spot, but no contact between Breo and Sears. Breo up to 4th. Donald Ray sitting at 6th. That's where he started. Blankenship's up 2 spots. Tommy Withers is up 3. James Kerr in that 75. Our Fontana race winner up to 9th place. He started all the way down in the 14th position. And he's already back up to the top 10 here in heat race number 1. Toby Estes trying to sail away. Fastest lap so far, 1:16.3. Not even close for Davey Houck. 1:17.1 as he had to try to work around and try to run away from Tom Sears that last lap. Up the hill seems to be where Davey's a little bit stronger than Toby. But we'll see how they go around the rest of the lap here as they go through turn 4 once again. Alrighty. Had that little bit of an interruption there, but hopefully we're all right now. Alrighty, heat race number 2. It's the Constellation. So here's the 11 cars for the Constellation race. Another 3-lap heat, I believe, coming up here. It's Blankenship and Kerr on the front row. Then it's Bradley Wright and Joshua Gaiman in row 2 for this Constellation. The last chance qualifier is what it's called. Noah Belleville and John Smeal make up row 3. Then it's Withers and Gabbard, Hohenbrink and Pinnell, and Kevin Feemster rounds out the field here. Tom Sears saying almost that a couple times. Yep, we saw that on the last lap. Actually, with 2 to go in heat race number 1. Good save. But here we go, watching all the cars roll up the hill on the formation lap as we get ready to go here. Here's Jacob Blankenship on the pole position for this last chance qualifier. All right, we're going to get ready to go here. Going through the S's, bypassing one of the IndyCar portions of Sonoma here. Again, Blankenship and Kerr on the front row here as we get ready to roll for the last chance qualifier here at Sonoma. Ten cars all lined up and ready to go. Kerr tried to jump it, but it's on green. And Kerr with that jump start and then that fade back, already down 3 spots. Blankenship, Wright, and Belleville now top 3 as they go up the hill towards turn 2. That was James Kerr who got sit into the tire wall. We figured the backup would cause a problem. It was Kerr, the one who caused the backup, to be the one spun out of the way. Blankenship, Belleville, top 2. They've gotten around Gaiman. Withers in 4th. John Smeal in 5th. And it's Hohenbrink, Pinnell, as Belleville dives to the inside. The 41 to the front of the field for the heat race. Blankenship will lose another spot. Almost lost it through the end of the S's there going into turn 11. He'll hold on to 3rd, but Belleville right now sitting at the front of the field. It's Belleville, Gaiman, Blankenship, Withers, Smeal, Hohenbrink, Pinnell, top 7. Gabbard 8th, Bradley Wright down the 9th. And James Kerr to the 10th spot. Belleville trying to hold on for his first heat race win of the year. It's 41, 61, 85, top 3. John Smills had an accident. He sits 6th at the moment. There he is behind Hohenbrink. Hops the curbing for turn 4. Decides not to run wide. Unlike what we saw Ryan Pinnell just do. As now pressure's on for Belleville as he tries to keep Gaiman behind. Belleville, Gaiman, Blankenship still top 3 with a decent gap between Blankenship and Withers. As Belleville goes into the wall out of turn 10. Goes back to the racing line. Tries to make sure that Blankenship doesn't get by, but Joshua Gaiman up to the front. Blankenship now in 3rd. He's going to challenge Belleville here. Top 4, all Fords. Only 2 Toyotas in this field. Hohenbrink and Bradley Wright. All of the Chevrolets in this field made it in either through the front row or through heat race number 1. Joshua Gaiman already with an almost 1.8 second gap almost to Noah Belleville. Slight hiccup on Belleville's behalf. Now he's going to try to run away from Jacob Blankenship. The Blankenship, our Darlington race winner, still chasing down Belleville here as we approach the last lap in the last chance qualifier. Belleville beginning to pull away, but the gap is 2.5. Alrighty. Here we go. Down the hill into turn 4 for Josh Gaiman. Taking it easy. This is one of those tracks where safe is fast most of the time. Gaiman not pushing too hard right now. Letting it roll through the corners as he goes through the S's here at Sonoma. 3 seconds, the gap has expanded more. Blankenship has lost 2 seconds to Belleville now, as he sits 5 behind Joshua Gaiman. Gaiman makes it look easy. Through turn 11. He's going to cruise on in. Coming out of turn 11 now, he's going to finish ahead and win this last chance qualifier to set him up in the best possible position for the main event. Noah Belleville second. Jacob Blankenship will bring it home third in the last chance qualifier. Then it's Withers, Hohenbrink, and Pinnell top 6. Looks like something happened to John Smeal here. Not sure what happened. That was Withers resting against the wall. That was interesting. Alrighty. Last chance to warm up before the main event. 55 laps coming up here in just a little bit. Reynolds and Sears playing a little bit of a game, trying to see if they can stay phased within each other. They still are, I think. Now they aren't. And Reynolds pancakes the wall. Way to go, Reynolds. Pierce and I believe it was Pierce and Reynolds that were on the front row. They qualified their way in directly on the front row. Didn't have to worry about racing in the heats. Get some warm up in before the race begins. Pierce is a favorite. Reynolds is a favorite. Can't count out Breo. Can't count out Davey Houck or Toby Estes. Can't count out any of those 5 in this race. James Kerr said, not my kind of track. Not my kind of track either. Don't blame me, man. This is one of those races where you take the points you can get and walk away. James Kerr locked into the playoffs already, won at Fontana. So for him, this is really just kind of a little bit of cruise control. He knows he's pretty well set. Unless, for some reason, you would need how many other drivers to win races to not be, put that in sort of in question. Let me look real quick. See if I can get that 7 drivers. You need 9 other drivers to win races for it to even be a possibility. But I believe Kerr, looking at the points, James Kerr. Yeah, James is sitting 11th in the points. So even if we had to rely on pointsing your way in, James is pretty fine. If anyone would be the first to drop, it'd be Cody Pennell. He'd be the first one to drop if we end up having more than 16 race winners. Yeah, so Kerr is very much just take your points, move on. Talladega next week. That's going to be a wild race. Can't wait for that. Pierce sets the first lap time of warm-up with 2 minutes left. Seth Wansing second on the board. Here's a 1:16.60, almost actually over a second slower than his qualifying lap. But very much just about consistency, as he immediately throws it off track as soon as I mention anything about consistency. Way to go, James. And he'll spin it around in turn 4 for good measure. And everyone that is watching this after watching Indy Arcs on Wednesday, wondering why he can't do that more often there. Everyone tuning in, appreciate you spending your Sunday evening with us, no matter where you are in the world. If you're in the Midwest, prepare for a scorching week. It's going to be a very hot week here in Ohio, where I am. So, if you're dealing with the heat the way we are here in the Midwest, be careful, stay hydrated. But we're glad you're with us here tonight. Some road course racing. It's going to be an interesting one, if Circuit of the Americas is anything to go by. Which probably is. After Sonoma, which is everyone thinking after Sonoma, let's be honest. It's Talladega next week for Father's Day. Then you have Nashville after that. And then Road America, one of the cooler road courses on the calendar. But Sonoma being a nice little road blockage on the way to what will be an exciting ending to the month of June. Gonna get ready to race here. Warm-up's over. And now it's time. Alrighty. Here's Sonoma Race 15 of 36 in the season. Track air temp 76 degrees. Track temp 103, it looks like, here at Sonoma. It's actually gotten cooler as the day's gone on. It was 117 in practice, so track was scorching earlier. This is the coolest it's been for a little bit. Moving on to the race grid, it's James Pierce and Tommy Reynolds. Both of them looking for their first wins of the season in A squared. For James Pierce in his second start, Toby Estes and Davey Houck make up row 2. They were the top 2 in heat race number 1. Then it's Wansing and Breo in row number 3. Wansing has not yet won a race in A squared either. Breo has won 5 in 14 races up to this point. Tom Sears and Donald Ray make up row number 4. Then it's Joshua Gaiman and Noah Belleville. Jacob Blankenship and Ryan Pennell make up row number 6 out of 9 in this field. Row 7, Jonathan Hohenbrink and Terry Gabbard. Then you have Bradley Wright and James Kerr. Tommy Withers and John Smeal make up row 9. Kevin Feimster will not participate in the start of this event. But it's Pierce and Reynolds. Front row, first pole position of the season for James Pierce. He has multiple in Indy Arcs. But his first one here in A squared, and it is obviously on a road course. As we get ready to go racing here through the short chute from turn 4 to turn 7. Again, Pierce, Reynolds front row. A pair of drivers looking for their first wins of the season. Then you have Toby Estes and Davey Houck. Davey Houck trying to lock his way into the A squared playoffs here. A race win would automatically do it. Davey's not won one yet this year, but he's sitting in the top 5, ready to do so. He's sitting 4th in that number 21. Ford Mustang pace car will pull into pit lane here at turn 11. One of the trickiest corners of the track as far as making sure your braking markers are correct. James Pierce, that was a jump, and he immediately almost loses it. There's probably going to be a penalty for that. You can't jump the start. You have to go when the lights go green. So he probably has a drive-through penalty here. I would not be surprised if he has a drive-through. We'll have to wait and see. Supposed to go on green. Everyone was caught napping because he went early. Boy, and I bet there's a penalty to pay here. Riley Wright, Donald Ray both went off track. Ray is down in 10th. He's lost 2 spots. Riley Wright down 2 spots as well in 17th. Ryan Pinnell also went off track. He is sitting in 18th now. He's down 6 spots from where he started. He started in 12th. Keep an eye on James Pierce. No drive-through this lap. I'm assuming if they give him a drive-through, he's got 3 laps to serve it. So he's hoping he can kind of hold it out there and try to stay ahead of some of these drivers once he does come into pit lane to serve a drive-through. Again, we don't know if he's got a penalty or not. He may as well not have a penalty. But we have to kind of assume there might be one for him. But he's walking away from Tommy Reynolds at the moment. Davey Houck up to 3rd ahead of Toby Estes. Right now it is very much the James Pierce show. There are 2 stage breaks in this race, 3 stages total. Stage breaks at the end of lap 15 and lap 30. So, James Pierce just has to hold on to lap 15 here. Seems pretty simple, right? Weather's having trouble. He's dropped down to 18th. John Smeals also went off once again, but a very quick back rejoin for John Smeal, who sits in the 15th spot. Still up 3 spots from where he started. Not doing too bad at the moment. Toby Estes has got it back around Davey Houck. Davey was thinking, I've got to get a shot here. 3 really big obstacles in the way in the form of Pierce, Reynolds, and Estes. And the more he battles with the 19 of Toby Estes, the slower it's going to make him. And the more it's going to allow Reynolds and Pierce to pull away. You see the gap already. Again, a lot of race here. 55 laps, we're only on lap 3. Anything can happen. But early showing how very much in the thick of it between Estes and Breo. Breo, 5 race wins this season, 1 last week. sitting very comfy in the top 5 already, as Pierce does serve the drive-through. There's the drive-through for Pierce. And Tommy Reynolds will move into the race lead here. It's what we assumed, is that there was going to be a penalty, and it is a drive-through for James Pierce. As you see Pierce, that slow crawl, 35 miles an hour. He's down to 11th. They go ahead and take service. Not sure that's the smart move, but not my position to sort of judge there. Estes moves up to second with that. Again, stage break at the end of lap 15, so it's not the end of the world for James Pierce. He can make his way back forward in the field. He's got the pace to do it. Reynolds, however, is the race leader. Set the fastest lap at 1:15.85 for car number 7. We're looking at car number 19 in your screen. Second place, Toby Estes, ahead of Davey Houck and Jeremy Breo. There's Tommy Reynolds, and then number 7. Looking for his first race win here in 2022. Pierce did go a lap down. I wonder if he had a 30-second penalty. They might have given him a 30. That might have been a 30-second penalty. Again, we don't know what he was given. We know he had a penalty because he jumped to start, but I don't recall what penalty they gave him. I'm assuming it might have been 30 seconds because he's now a full lap behind. He's the only car a lap down. So when stage 1 ends, he will get his lap back here. Provided that somebody else doesn't get a lap down ahead of him. You'd be looking at someone like maybe Smeal or Hohenbrink that might struggle. Hohenbrink has crashed. And he is still struggling as John Smeal will get by him. Look at Jacob Blankenship here, sitting in the top 10. Again, race leader Tommy Reynolds at the front of the field. Here's Jeremy Breo. He's down around Davey Houck. Up to the 3rd position. Davey said earlier that this is one of his favorite tracks. He's performing really well. It's just, he's still got to deal with a lot of really good drivers at the front of the field. But Breo in P3. You have Davey Houck in 4th place here. Then Seth Wansing sitting in 5th place ahead of Tom Sears. Joshua Gaiman in the 61 in 7th. And it's Belleville in 8th. And then you'll have to look all the way back to Jacob Blankenship in 9th place. I believe that was Pierce that went by. It was Pierce. He is right behind Noah Belleville. Terry Gabbard has had an incident and has been moved out of the way. There's Terry Gabbard. He's about to go a lap down here in just a minute. There's Reynolds. So yeah, he is very much in danger of going a lap down. As Pierce goes up the hill. Gabbard is loose in this contact! Reynolds has spun around! Oh my goodness! Terry Gabbard has spun Tommy Reynolds. Reynolds is going to be fuming. Reynolds drops down to 8th place. Oh, this is not going to be pretty. Saying Gabbard's into pit lane. We can't see anything at the moment. But Toby S is now the race leader, after Tommy Reynolds got spun out by Gabbard in pit lane. There's Gabbard in pit lane at the moment. That's not good. Alrighty, we're coming to 6 laps to go until the end of stage 1 here at Sonoma. Toby Estes is the race leader. Then it's Jeremy Breo in 2nd place, Davey Houck in 3rd, Seth Wansing in 4th. See, there's the gap between Estes and Breo. Pull it up for you here. 1.5 the gap between Estes and Breo. Davey sitting in very distant 3rd at the moment behind Jonathan Hohenbrink. 3 cars are a lap down. Smeal, Hohenbrink, and Pierce. As you see the bunch of cars here. Lap traffic going to become a massive issue. Davey Houck sitting in 3rd has to deal with John Smeal now going up the hill. Seth Wansing's in range. Tom Sears in range. Josh Gaiman in range. And it's going to check up everybody. Smeal's got something to fight for, too. He's the first car lap down. As it's 3 wide almost. Smil tries to get out of the way a little bit. Sears will lose spots. He dropped down behind Pierce, and Smil just goes completely off track. He's got to be careful, though. Oh, watch out. There's Smil. Hard in the wall. And you see the damage on that number 50. It's broke. Snapped that suspension on that left front like it was nothing. Battle for fourth heating up. Wanzing, Gaiman, Sears all in this conversation. So is James Pierce, the first car 1 lap down. Hanging on for dear life. So Smil had to move back to pit lane. You saw damage on that number 50. This is, again, the battle for P3 overall. Davey Houck in that number 21. Wanzing in the 9. Damon in the 61. Sears in the 14. Then there's James Pierce, the first car 1 lap down in this group as well. As they all come up on Tommy Withers, the number 6. He's got a lap down. And he's going to get out of the way. So Houck's going to go by, as will Wanzing, Gaiman, Sears, and I believe Reynolds is next up on that list. There's Reynolds. Noah Belleville pits as we approach the end of stage 1. Might be a smart move for him. Oh, Kerr in the wall. James Kerr tagged the wall there in turn 11. Whoa! Trying to chase down Toby Estes here. Lost a little bit of time in the process. Davey still dealing. Now it's with Joshua Gaiman instead of Seth Wanzing. Wanzing's down to 5th. Two cars out of this race. Well, really just one car out of this race. It's Sarah Gabbard that's out. John Smil 2 laps down, but still running. Pierce has gotten ahead of Gaiman. Again, Pierce a lap down. Racing to maintain that first car 1 lap down status. Bradley Wright and Ryan Pinnell in danger of potentially going a lap down if they have any more further incidents here. So he knows time is of the essence. He's going to race around the outside of Davey Houck here through turn 11. How important is that? It's this important. Wright, Pinnell going up the hill right in front of the race leaders. Pierce is praying that they do not go a lap down here, but Estes can't back off. And Bradley Wright's not going to really contend too often much, I don't think. with with his teammate. They're both part of the Bluegrass Bandit stable. I said Bluegrass Bandit stable. But I don't know if Toby wants to put him a lap down either. He's going to allow Breo to get really close. But Briley's still fighting to stay on the lead lap. He doesn't want to use that lucky dog. Oh, this is going to be really close. Is Briley going to fight? No, he won't. Watch out! Oh, they parked the bus on turn 11. Pinnell's going to be the first car a lap down. Pierce won't get the lucky dog unless he stays out and gets a wave around. But Estes wins stage 1. Hauk will stay 3rd. Wanzing will be down to 5th behind Joshua Gaiman. And Pierce has to be fuming. He's going to have to stay out on older tires and try to make something work. Absolutely fuming. And Riley Wright's in the same boat. Ryan Pinnell gets the lucky dog here. Absolutely wild. But Toby Estes, winner of stage 1. How about that? Watching pit stops here. Belleville does stay out, which is what we kind of assumed when he pit near the end of stage 1. So he will assume the race lead here to begin stage number 2. And now got his lap back. Pierce trying to get a wave around. So he's going to stay ahead here. As will, I believe, James Kerr. There's your race leader, Noah Belleville. Now at the front of the field on lap 18. He'll be leading us to green when we go back to racing to begin stage 2. Alrighty, we're about to go back racing here at Sonoma. It's Belleville, Estes, Hauk, Breo, top 4 as we get ready to go at it. Alrighty, pace car is in. It's on Belleville's call, and Belleville goes here. Restarts are on the leader. Belleville chooses to go. He takes the lead ahead of Toby Estes and Jeremy Breo. We're back underway here at Sonoma. Everyone goes through the hill, down the turn 4 now. Belleville with a pretty decent lead to start out here in stage 2. Breo trying to go for second place as they go through turn 7. Breo takes second from Estes. You watch Estes get really loose. And now he's got to deal with Davey Hauk going across the line. Davey gave him enough space to kind of get himself sorted out. That's John Smeal in pit lane. You saw under at the very bottom. He's going to be coming out of pit lane here. Davey sitting in 4th behind Estes and ahead of Gaiman. Wansing in 7th. Reynolds, Wansing in 6th. Reynolds in 7th. Sears 8th, Blankenship 9th, Donald Ray rounds out the top 10. Pierce up to the 11th spot. Again, he got a wave around, got his lap back. So Pierce sitting in 11th. Belleville now dealing with a lot of pressure. Estes and Breo still there. And because Belleville's on a little bit older tires, it's only by a couple laps, but it still matters. It's going to allow Davey and Joshua Gaiman and Tommy Reynolds to catch up as well. Wanding has dropped down to 8th. Ryan Pinnell's had a crash. Looks like it's in turn 11. Might have been just a spin. Breo's lost a little bit of time as they go through turn 7. That gap was not there when they went up the hill. We went to see what happened with Pinnell, and we came back, and here we go. Now it's a 1.6 second gap, and it's actually because Breo got past Estes. This is what happened. Breo finally succeeded in doing that. Breo, when we interviewed him at the end of the race at Gateway last week, he's like, I'm not sure how this race is going to go. Right now, he's doing a phenomenal job as Davey now has to defend from both Estes and, not Estes, as Davey's actually parked it. Davey actually spun it. I believe he had help. We'll take a look at it because he was in the middle, 3 wide. We saw it in the background. He went to defend the inside from Gaiman. Gaiman stuck on the outside. Reynolds went to the inside. Oh, yeah, he got help. 100% had help there. And he just poured it through the middle there, but now he's down to 10th. Belleville holding on to the race lead at the moment. Breo trying to chase him down. It's 1.7, 1.8 going into turn 7. Estes in 3rd. Gaiman 4th. Reynolds 5th. That'll be how they go through the S's here on the second half of the lap here at Sonoma. Again, into stage 2 is lap number 30. It's Belleville, Breo, Estes, then Gaiman and Reynolds top 5. Sears 6th, Wanzing 7th, Blankenship 8th, Ray 9th, and Davey Houck has to make his way back forward again in the 10th spot. So Belleville holds on to the race lead. We're on lap 25 now. Breo's closed the gap down to less than half a second. 74 on a mission. Belleville on older tires. Trying to go for the best that he can. And then number 41. Tommy Reynolds had an issue. He's dropped down to 10th behind Davey Houck. Don't believe this is the top 3 we thought we were going to see here. Breo hot on the bumper of Belleville. Belleville's got to pull a lot of defense in what is going to be 5 laps when they cross the line. Going to be a lot of defensive playing here for Belleville. Can he do it? Magic question here in stage 2. Breo looks to the inside. Belleville gives him just enough space. Whoa! Contact! Quarter panel there. Breo will clear. That's not quarter panel. It was fender to quarter panel. But Breo will clear. You take the race lead. That's someone off track. It's Withers off track. Yep, thought about saying it in 7. Thought better of it. Less than 4.5 laps to go in stage number 2. Breo, Belleville, Estes top 3, as you can see on the tops on the left side of your screen. Donald Ray's had an issue. He's dropped down to 10th. Drivers struggling here at Sonoma. Here's what it looks like. 36 degrees air temperature still so far. Track temp has gone up to 115 degrees. So track temp has spiked by 12 degrees since the start of this race. James Kerr has crashed. Turn 4. He lets Ryan Pinnell go by, but he's down in 15th place at the moment. Breo trying to pull away from Belleville. Belleville trying to hold on to second. Get a really good call of stage points here. 3 cars out of this race. Feemster didn't start. Gabbard and Briley Wright are out of this race. It looks like John Smeal might be out of this race as well. No, he's still running. John Smeal is still running. Here's the 50 down in 17th. They're trying to clock out laps to get ahead of Briley Wright on the leaderboard. But here's Jeremy Breo, the 5-time race winner this season. He has won more than 33% of the races this season. He's won more than a third. Can he make it 6 out of 15? James Pierce is in pit lane. He's doing the same strategy that Belleville pulled. Surprised Belleville didn't do it again. But at the same time, I think he's going for the stage points here. He might pit at the end of this lap, to be honest. Tom Sears up to P4 ahead of Joshua Gaiman. Seth Wansing sitting a very respectable 6th at the moment and has had a very clean race so far. Then you have Davey Houck sitting in the 7th spot, right ahead of Tommy Reynolds. Battle for P7 heating up. Reynolds a little bit too aggressive on the curbing there through turn 7. Will lose time. Belleville does come in. Here's Belleville. In pit lane. So that would put Belleville and Pierce on the front row for the restart here. That's going to be interesting. .9 second gap between Breo and Estes. Breo's going to cruise to another stage win at the rate of it at the moment. He's got a little more than a lap to round out stage number 2. Last lap of stage 2, we're looking at the race leader, Jeremy Breo, as he goes down into turn 4. Breo can take it easy if he wants to. Stage 2 ends with Jeremy Breo across the line. Estes will finish second. Tom Sears ends stage 2 in third place. Out of Joshua Gaiman and Seth Wansing rounding out the top 5. So we just saw something interesting happen here. James Pierce pit with everyone else. Noah Belleville, because he was so far behind the leaders, did not get up to the safety car in time before the leaders exited pit lane. So he will not be at the front of the field here. He will be down in 8th place. Now the question is for him, does he pit again? Does it really matter if he pits again? So now he's got a different set of questions to ask in that 41. As Toby Estes beats Breo out of pit lane. Tom Sears stayed 3rd. Gaiman 4th. Wansing 5th. Reynolds 6th. Then Davey Houck, Noah Belleville there in 8th. Blankenship, Ray, and Pierce round out the top 11. Alrighty, about to go back racing here in Sonoma. It's Estes and Breo at the front of the field. Green flag back in the air. We're racing for stage 3. Sears looking mighty competitive at the moment. Oh, someone turned around. That's Wanting turned around. It stays green at the moment, but there's Wanting turned around. Team sideswept driver. Going the wrong way. Through turn 7, Belleville up to 4th. We'll see what happened to Wanting here as we look at Sears chasing after Estes. Breo's in the lead. Here's what happened to Wanting going up the hill. Through turn 1. It's out of turn 1 where he spun. Did he get help? Uh-oh, he got help. Yeah, he did. Belleville was the one that helped him. Belleville sent it to the inside of Reynolds. I believe Reynolds squeezed him onto the grass. We don't get a really good angle there. See if we can get a look at it here. Does any dust kick up? Still not a really good look at it. This is probably the best look we got of it. Reynolds left enough space for him to not have to use the grass. But we have another issue, and it's Tom Sears up the hill as well. Same spot. Never mind, that's turn 3. Turn 3 is where Tom Sears spun. And so did Noah Belleville. So Belleville's had trouble, and Tom Sears has had trouble. What happened to Belleville and Sears? So here's Belleville. Sears right ahead. Oh, Sears just bottomed out. And Belleville had nowhere to go. Got involved in it too. Here's what happened. It was chasing down Toby Estes. Sitting in 3rd. And just loops it. And nothing that Belleville could do there. So there's Tom Sears now. Team Outlaw driver sitting in the 11th spot. Last car on the lead lap at the moment. Trying to chase down Seth Wanting, who's also had trouble. Here's trouble up at the front. James Pierce, from a lap down, the pole sitter, has made his way back up to 3rd. He has been working for it. Competition at the front of the field has just gotten a little bit more important, a little bit more fierce. I believe it was John Smear that came to a stop. It was. Estes down to 3rd. Pierce now chasing down Jeremy Breo. Further down the order, Sears has overtaken Wanting for the top 10. Side by side going through turn 3. Pierce side by side with Breo. They touch. And Breo's forced off. And he's going to lose a spot. There's Estes and there's Tommy Reynolds. Breo goes extremely wide. Almost clips the tires. Still side by side with Estes. A little bit argy-bargy. There's some more argy-bargy. Breo is not happy. It's about to get very rough and tumble here at Sonoma. Here's to the front of the field. Wasn't happy about how it happened. Davey Houck sitting and waiting. As we look further down, Reynolds also making his way back forward, battling side by side with Estes, trying to make sure he doesn't go wide. Really good job saving it there, but now he's got to deal with Davey Houck on the inside for turn 11. Reynolds shuts the door on Houck. Reynolds turned Houck in stage 2. Estes struggling now to put the power down. He'll lose another spot. Hohenbrink is off in the grass. That's in the S's. Pierce at the front of the field. Then it's Breo, almost 4 seconds adrift. Reynolds in P3, Houck in P4. It heated up pretty quick here. For everyone tuning in, we appreciate you spending your Sunday evening with us. Action just turned up a notch. We'll take a look at that pass, because that was an aggressive one. Up the hill, Breo. I think Breo drifted into Pierce first, and Pierce just shoved him off. Pierce, for those that don't recall, last time we saw Pierce, he got ran over by Bradley Wright at Charlotte. So we'll see if we can get a good look at it here. This will be a good angle. We'll slow it down for you. Actually, we'll go full speed. Pierce turns in. Yeah, Breo just pushes wide and stays on Pierce. And Pierce just, he ejects him. There's Toby Estes still behind with Davey Houck. There's Jeremy Breo, second place man, 5 race wins on the season so far. One of the most dominant drivers this season, sitting in second place. Breo trying everything he can right now. He's losing time to Tommy Reynolds now too, which is just an even bigger kicker. And with how much he's been pushing, he's wearing out his tires too. We know everyone's got a pit stop, so they're not probably saving as much as they need to. Or as much as they could, I should say. But Breo has to be unhappy. Reynolds looking at his fellow team sideswipe teammate. 74 versus 7. That's Hohenbrink in the 20, letting Breo and Reynolds go by. He went off track just to stay out of Reynolds' way through the apex of turn 3, as now they drift down to turn 4. Breo's pushing so wide in turn 4. What a wild change of events there. Pierce back to the front of the field in tremendous fashion. The gap is now 6 seconds between Pierce and Breo. Breo goes wide, Reynolds up to P2. So Breo drops down to 3rd. It's Reynolds to 2nd, behind Pierce. Davey Houck stays in 4th, still battling with Toby Estes. Take a look at that battle here. There it is. Not far behind Breo and Reynolds either. Ooh, watch out. Toby Estes drifted in deep there in turn 7, trying to get a look on Davey Houck. Will lose a little bit of time, but he is faster than Davey. That much we can see. But now it's a three-car battle once again for third place, the final spot on the podium. Josh Gaiman sits 6th, Noah Belleville 7th, Tom Sears sits 8th, and it's Blankenship and Ray rounding out the top 10. Wanzing the last car on the lead lap, a full minute behind James Pierce. 14 laps to go. James Pierce, the Twisted Racing driver from Memphis, Tennessee, now residing in California. Doing a phenomenal job. 7 seconds is the gap all the way back to Tommy Reynolds. Chevrolet driver for Team Sideswipe. Breo with a Ford driver for Team Sideswipe. That team transcends manufacturer loyalty. Davey Houck, another Ford, sitting in 4th, and Toby Estes in the 5th spot. Pierce at a 1:15.67 his last lap. Tommy Reynolds just at his fastest, and it's still 300 slower. Battle for P3 between 3 cars, Breo, Houck, and Estes. Sideswipe versus Bluegrass Bandits is the battle we got going on here. Right now, Sideswipe has the advantage, 2nd and 3rd versus 4th and 5th. Ooh, a little bit of a hop there. Hop by both Breo and Houck. There's Toby on the outside of Davey Houck. 21 versus the 19. 21 stays in 4th. Twelve laps to go. Her out of the way. Trying to stay out of the way. It did hold up Davey and Toby. So now this battle is for 4th place at the moment. Unless they can reel Jeremy back in. Still battling side by side. Same line as before. Davey almost messed up that line. Almost tagged the tires on the inside there. That wasn't the case. But Toby just trying to find ways around here. Very slow through turn 2. Struggling on older tires now. Estes gunning around Davey, and now Davey's got to deal with Joshua Gaiman in the number 61. Brea's struggling as well. Big time struggles for that 74 as he tries to stay ahead of Toby. Battle for third, still very much up in the air at the moment with less than 10 laps to go. There's the battle for fifth. Davies falling further and further behind as Gaiman tries to go for a top 5. A little bit further back is Tom Sears in number 14. He's had a rough go of it in stage 3. Blankenship sits 8th. Noah Belleville sits in 9th. And then Seth Wansing rounds out the top 10 with Donald Ray sitting in 11th, now behind the top 2 in this race. He's a lap down. Pierce right now in cruise control. 11.6 is the gap, and it climbs more and more every lap. Breo now firmly in 3rd place. Gaiman's taken 4th away. Estes is down into the 6th spot. What happened to Toby Estes? Here's what on Toby Estes as we watched him lock up. He just drifted wide. Oh, he gassed it up. Turn 2. As you saw there, Breo almost gifted the podium to Gaiman. The fade in the turn 11 prevents Joshua Gaiman in the 61 from trying to make a dive for it. But Breo's struggling. Breo is big time struggling. It's Pierce Reynolds at the top of the field. But then the question mark is who's going to finish the third place here. Gaiman wants it. Breo has it. 5 wins this season for Breo. Only 1 this season for Gaiman. Both of them locked in to the A-squared playoffs later this year with their race wins. Again, keeping an eye on this battle for third between Breo and Gaiman. Breo, the Mountain Dew 74. Gaiman, the Ukraine, the tribute car in number 61. Estes is in pit lane. Estes could not deal with those tires anymore, had to get them off. He'll lose a spot to Tom Sears, maybe more. 35-mile-an-hour pit lane. One of the slower pit lanes on the schedule. Gaiman almost lost it out of 3. Through turn 4, into the short chute. Breo's been very abusive of this one. Gaiman was almost even more abusive. Almost played Tony Hawk Pro Skater on the curbing out of turn 4. Estes drops down to 8th place. He'll come out of pit lane ahead of Wanzing in 9th. Soon to be 3 laps to go. 3 laps to go for the race leaders. Almost 3 laps to go for Breo and Gaiman here in P3 and P4. Breo defends the inside of turn 7. Gaiman tried to get a pretty good arch out of it. He did get a really good run out of it. Gaiman's right there, almost to the bumper of Breo. He doesn't want to bump him to get him out of the way, but you may have to. Breo is definitely mirror driving here through the braking zones as they go through the S's. Two laps to go. When these two cross the line, again, they're battling for 3rd and 4th. Pierce has already crossed the line, so has Reynolds. Can Gaiman get to the bumper of Breo and unsettle him, I guess, is the right way to put it. Try to get him to make a mistake here. Pressure is on for the 5-time race winner this season. Huttenbrink trying to stay out of the way, and that number 20 is damaged, and he will stay out of the way. Not Huttenbrink, that's Gaiman doing the exact same thing he did last lap. Even closer. Can he follow through here through the S's? He's a lot closer to the S's this time. Going down the hill. Gaiman looks to the inside. Brett shuts the door, but it's still not over. 1 lap to go. James Pierce is taking the white flag. This is the battle for P3. Gaiman, is he going to try to move him? He bumps him. That was a bump, and Brea was unsettled by it. This is for the white flag lap. 1 lap to go. Gaiman got loose going through turn 1. Going up the hill to turn 2. Oh, dearie me. Was that Gaiman's golden opportunity out the window? Through turn 3. And now down the hill towards turn 4. Gaiman's still pushing it. Brea has to deal with James Kerr. Kerr moves out of the way. Very wise and courteous of James Kerr to just get out of the way. That may have been Gaiman's best chance. Brea did a really good job defending it. Meanwhile, James Pierce, he's a 4-time race winner in Indy ARCs. Got pole position tonight here at Sonoma. Overcame a penalty. And he is celebrating, I believe. And is he out of fuel? He just gave the win to Reynolds. Tommy Reynolds is a race winner. What happened to Pierce? Brett went on to P3. What happened to James Pierce? Oh my goodness! I thought he ran out of fuel at first. I was like, what happened? Oh my goodness! Tommy Reynolds is a race winner. He takes Sonoma. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Tommy Reynolds, race winner at Sonoma. He's going to cut turn 11 because he's going to burn the house down here. He was denied victory at Circuit of the Americas, denied victory in the Indy ARCs Grand Prix of Long Beach, but he gets a victory here at Sonoma over James Pierce in a spectacular turn of events. My goodness. While we collect our thoughts here, we're going to interview Jeremy Brea, P3, a battle with Joshua Gaiman there at the end. Jeremy, this is Clayton from RX Booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, you got me.
Well, that was definitely a race. You look like you had your hands full most of that third stint there, that third stage. You looked really good out there. How hard was it getting the tires to cooperate there?
I mean, tires work great when you don't have a dipshit running through you, who has essentially the only amount of talent he has is just running a fucking lap. He can't race anybody clean. He can't do anybody clean. All he does is talk a bunch of shit about everybody. So that's great for him. All he did was prove how bad he is and how much of his name has got reputation. So whatever, you know, he can go choke on his second place because I know he pulled over for Tommy because now he's going to get banned for rigging the race. But whatever, that sucks for him. He could have just won the race and then not been banned and probably raced for the playoffs. But that's what he wanted to do. So whatever. But anyways, yeah, car was fun. Track was fun. Good for Tommy. Tommy had a great race. He deserved that one. Other than dipshit pulled over. But other than that, fun race. Hope we never come back here. Hope they bulldoze the place.
So the battle with Josh, that was one of the better battles I think we've seen on track. You were in the battle with a lot of cars there. I guess that we saw Coda, and it's a completely different car than what we saw at Circuit of the Americas. With the dirty air this time, it's a lot more difficult track, as you kind of mentioned. It's very difficult, not the most fun. Was the dirty air any better here than what we saw earlier in the season, or was it still pretty hard to get around people?
Car was just more stable. That's the only thing. That's about it. I mean, the thing with me and Gaiman is we race each other clean and we have a good race. I mean, that was fun. But yeah, the car is it's more stable. The clean air and was overpowered unless she had a grip pack. But I mean, other than that, it was hard to pass, and you couldn't really get around anybody unless you were like 2 to 3 tenths faster than them. But yeah, it was definitely tough.
So obviously, not the same result as what you got at Gateway last week. Obviously, 5 out of 15 races wins, not a bad deal. Talladega coming up. It's going to be a wild card. Team Sideswipe, I'm assuming, going to be showing up in full force. With it being such a team game, do you feel confident that that Team Sideswipe could potentially sweep the entire podium next week?
Yeah, I mean, if we all just come out and we all do our thing, we race clean and we don't run each other over, we'll be good to go. But yeah, Talladega's a wild card, so you never know. We could be in a 30-car pileup before lap 2 is over. But yeah, we should be all out there, and hopefully that's a great race.
Well, Jeremy, obviously a frustrating race overall, but if you have anyone you want to shout out, obviously Team Sideswipe, a big deal between you, Tommy, both on the podium. Obviously, Seth was really competitive and just had things go wrong at the beginning of stage 3 there, and he never really recovered. But 3 cars in the top 10, 2 on the podium. If there's anyone you want to shout out, the floor is yours, man. Congrats on another podium.
Alrighty, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to thank Smil Racing Designs. Him and his wife make all these great paint schemes that you see every week on the broadcast. So yeah, and thanks to Midwest Barbecue, that's Seth Wansing's family's company. So go check them out. They have the greatest smokers in the world. And yeah, thank you to everybody, Team Sideswipe, and congratulations to Tommy and James Pierce. Go fuck yourself.
Alrighty, well, have a good night, Jeremy. We'll see you at Talladega, and we'll see what Team Sideswipe puts together there.
Alrighty. Thank you, Clayton.
Not a problem. Alrighty, that was Jeremy Breo, our 3rd place finisher. Apologies for the profanity there in that interview. Obviously, a very passionate interview by Jeremy Breo. Obviously, about to see sort of what everyone has to say here in just a second. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to talk to our race winner as we sort of gather our thoughts here. Just a bit wild there. Tommy, this is Clayton from the ABN booth, from the ARX Racing booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was some words that were shared. Jeremy has a perspective of it. Obviously, you had a very up and down race as well.
Oh my god.
But you made it through. Just kind of walk through how difficult this race was just to get back up to the front of the field. Everyone had that moment at some point in this race. Just sort of walk us through how you feel right now after 55 laps of just absolute, what I guess some would say either misery or difficulties. Just how are you feeling right now, man? You got a race win.
I mean, from the start, it was just awful for me. I mean, that restart, Pierce got a penalty, and then I went too wide off the track, and I slammed the outside wall. So then my car was damaged from there, and I fell back. Then once we started hitting lap traffic in the first stage, I I forgot who it was, but somebody came back on the track and turned me. And then the second stage, there was another lap car who I gotta go back and look at it, but either I shoved him off the track or he just came back on the track again and turned me. And then I got turned a third time by another car, and I forgot who that was. I was turned so many times during this race. It was hard to keep count, and it was actually ridiculous.
Yeah, this race seemed to be a very difficult one, and you still managed to find your way to get into second place there. I asked Breo this. Breo, obviously a very passionate interview beforehand.
Yeah.
Just Jeremy said this car is more stable compared to what it was at the last road course at Circuit of the Americas. Do you kind of share that sentiment? Was it easier to drive? Was it easier to battle people? Because we have another road course in 3 weeks at Road America. Is there anything you can sort of take from here and say, okay, the racing has changed this way, which makes Road America more... Does it make Road America better or worse going forward there? Obviously, Talladega and Nashville in between. But what can you learn from here to kind of go, okay, in 3 weeks, we've got a different challenge in our hands, and we might be able to do something here?
Road America and this track are two completely different tracks. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can compare, but even Sonoma and Coda are two completely different tracks. But from here to Coda, the car feels a lot less stiff. Going over big curbs, I forget which turn it is, but once you get up on the curbs, it's so hard to let the car sit because you just want to go. But as soon as you get up on those curbs, it just feels it feels so funny. But the car, when you're not on the curbs, is much more softer. It feels like you can slide it more, and it's a lot more forgiving. It doesn't feel as stiff and strange. But yeah, it felt a lot better than Coda. That's all I can say.
And that's a big deal because there are some pretty big curbs at Road America in 3 weeks as well. But obviously, Talladega next week, completely different challenge. Team Sideswipe, I know, be in full force. You, Jeremy, Ryan, as well as Seth. Can't forget the 9 car there. He also finished top 10 there. Going into Talladega, you've got that first race win. You've been denied so many times throughout the year, whether it's been here in A Squared and Indy RX, obviously Long Beach in the rearview mirror over there.
Oh, man.
But
yeah, don't pain me.
Yeah, right. But now that you got your first race win of the season, as far as like between A Squared and Indy RX, does it kind of just take that weight off your shoulder a little bit? Like, okay, I've done this. Now let's do it again.
Honestly, even though it didn't count for points, I think the All-Star race was my first race win, no matter what. It's honestly, I think, not one of the first races I've won here, but the first race that I've technically won in A Squared that counts towards the stats. So I honestly went into this race with a little more confidence, but even going into Talladega, I won't be here. So that will be unfortunate. And then I don't have Nashville, which is unfortunate. So that's why this week was pretty important for a race win. And Road America will help me get up there in the points again because I really like the road courses.
Yeah.
I think I'm good at them. So after that, I think it'll be smooth sailing until Pocono, which I also unfortunately don't have, but it should be fun.
Well, Tommy, congrats on your race win. Obviously, now that you knowing that you won't be here the next couple weeks is going to be very important. Obviously, you're part of Team Sideswipe, but if there's anyone you want to shout out, man, congrats on your race win. It was definitely well earned, as much as you had to go from the back to the front of the field today. But if there's anyone you shout out, the floor is yours, man. Congrats on the race win.
I'd just like to say thanks again to Smeo Racing Designs and Aramark for sponsoring the car, and yeah, it was a fun race.
Well, Tommy, again, congrats. We'll see you in 3 weeks for Road America, but have a good night, stay safe, and we'll see you down the road.
You too.
Alrighty, that was Tommy Reynolds, our race winner. Now this is where it's going to get really interesting, because now we get to interview James Pierce here. We heard Breo's interview. Now we hear Pierce's interview here in just a second. Alrighty. James, this is Clayton from the ARX Racing booth. You got a copy?
I hear you.
Alrighty. So, that was a race. Obviously, the penalty that you overcame at the beginning, overcame that pretty easily. Just had to take your time and sort of get to the field. Walk us through those last few laps there, because it's going to... Obviously, Jeremy had things to say. Tommy was very much trying to tiptoe around it. What happened there at the end of the race there? It just very bizarre.
I knew I'm not going to gain anything else. I can't get in the championship. So I thought I would be. It wouldn't be kind of me or nice of me to take the win. So let whoever was second take the win. Whoever it was, it happened to be Tommy on that one. I was going to get the win because there's nothing to me gain from it. So everyone else here is fighting for a playoff spot. So I thought I'd just be, at least, sort of not take it from anyone who actually deserved it, because technically I'm a part-timer, so I didn't really need it.
This race was very challenging. Obviously, you were trying to be courteous, and there'll be discussions on that, I guess. Looking at the race itself, you had the penalty at the opening lap for jumping the start. You served that penalty, went a lap down. I'm assuming it was a 30-second penalty is what it gave you.
Nope, minute 30.
Minute 30.
So.
Okay.
Even though I think it was supposed to be a drive-through, is what I heard.
Yeah, I thought it was a drive-through. I thought that was a penalty, but whatever it was, you went a lap down, had to get a wave around to get back on the lead lap, and you sort of had to play your cards through stage 2. Really only had to set up stage 3 to make it happen. Getting through the field, this car, obviously not a car that you typically run. I guess you raced to Charlotte and then you raced here. What was the most difficult part about this car for you, sort of having to adjust? Because you were carving through people left and right. Where did you struggle to really hammer down early on? Because it looked like you really kind of just turned up the jets really in stage 2. Stage 1 was more of I don't know if you were cruising or if you were still trying to figure something out. Where was the biggest challenge for you today?
Stage 1, yeah, I had my shifter go out, so I had to use my button box for my alternate shifting, so that was interesting. So I didn't really have a left hand for that first whole stint, but other than that, I don't think it was really that much challenging about the car. It was a lot easier once the race. I don't know, when driving a qualifying practice, finally got it down in the qualifying lap where I realized what actually to drive this car is like. Before that, I was driving like a loser, I think, in terms of wheel spin and stuff like that. And found the key in it, and then finally, during the start of the race, had a lovely start. That was so much fun to almost bin it. But other than that, I think it was just the shifter issue. And then once my wheel got fixed halfway through it, made it a lot easier to drive. So I think that was the only thing that really kind of challenged me. Otherwise, the car was pretty lovely to drive. It was very easy on throttle once I realized it. So other than that, it was fun.
Obviously, still secured the podium here. For Twisted Racing, obviously, you've got Indy Arcs and everything, but kind of trying to figure out how to say it, because obviously people have opinions on what happened the night, and that's a conversation for a different time. But I guess really, obviously your team's a GT3 team. If there's anyone to shout out, though, that either was cheering you on during this race or anything, the floor is yours, man. It's a phenomenal drive from pole position. The floor is yours if you have anyone you want to shout out.
I appreciate my girl. She had to drive me here because my car broke. So, but that's it. Other than that, that's the only one I want to thank. It was just a fun little race to do and something to keep me occupied today. So it was good fun.
Alrighty.
Well, and you too for being the broadcaster as always.
I appreciate it.
Sultry voice is always very enjoyable to listen to.
I appreciate it, man. But James, obviously, we have a week off in Indy Arcs. Why? Man, yeah, right. But we'll see you again here soon. Have a good night. Obviously, we're ending really early. It's only 10 p.m., or on the East Coast anyway. But have a good night, man. We'll see you for the next Indy Arcs event, and we'll see what you do from there.
You too, brother. Have a good one.
Alrighty. So I'm pretty sure there's gonna be conversations over everything that's happened tonight. But we're gonna go over the unofficial results. So here's what the unofficial results look like here at Sonoma. Tommy Reynolds, our race winner, over James Pierce. Jeremy Breo finishing third, rounding up the podium there. Joshua Gaiman in P4. Davey Houck 5th. Tom Sears in 6th. Jacob Blankenship in 7th, and it's Toby Estes in 8th, Noah Belleville in 9th, Seth Wansing in 10th. 11th is Donald Ray. He finished 1 lap down. He was the first car off the lead lap. Ryan Pinnell finished 12th, 2 laps down. And then we had multiple DNFs here. James Kerr finishing 13th. Jonathan Hohenbrink finishing 14th. John Smeal tried to tough it out, but could only manage 15th. Early accidents ended his day pretty early. Tommy Withers finished 16th, and it's Briley Wright and Terry Gabbard rounding out the 18 that took the start of the race today. Next week, Father's Day, but it is also Talladega. It's going to be a wild one. We hope you join us then. But for everyone, on behalf of ARCS, on behalf of Darkside Mustangs, Midwest Barbecue, or Wendy Chevrolet, I'm Clayton Hardy. We appreciate you spending your Sunday night with us.